This is more of like a little random rant, and who knows, maybe a little bit of a channeled message. But I think the inherent concept that sobriety or abstaining from any kind of altered state of consciousness, I think the concept that that equates to some form of higher level spirituality is like the biggest bold faced ass lie that people are fucking telling you. I've had people dead ass tell me with confidence that if I drink alcohol, it's going to inhibit my psychic abilities, when I've had some of the most profound experiences while I might have been in an altered state of consciousness, to say the least. Like, altered states of consciousness have been used between shamans, witches, medicinal healers, between countless different forms of spirituality and practitioners across the entire world to be able to experience spiritual things from the dawn of time, much less now. And I think I see so much propaganda of people trying to say like, "Oh, you can't be spiritual and drink," and so many people are like, "Oh, I'm sober now. I'm so clean. I'm so aligned," and all this shit. And I feel like it's the biggest fucking it's bullshit. It's quite frankly like another rebranded version of religion. Like, there are literally gods of fucking alcohol and wine and party and pleasure and desire. And there's this conflated concept that it's like purity culture just rebranded almost. And if you feel empowered by that, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. I think there's everything in creation to be empowered by. But I think it becomes an issue like where you then start to then look down on other individuals and think that because another individual might have had or accessed a spiritual state through an altered state of consciousness, that for whatever reason that their experience is now invalid compared to yours. When in reality, I think just the fact that you would even have the confidence to tell another individual what their experience is with with audacity, I think that leaves a lot of room for growth on your end. Being drunk can be just as fucking sacred and just as holy. There are gods of wine, so I mean like, and being under a psychedelic influence can be just as sacred, just the same way that people have ayahuasca retreats and have been able to experience altered states of consciousness that have led them to deeper revelations or deeper life changes, the exact same way that something as simple as shrooms or LSD or something like that could. It's just because it's an experience is induced through a modality, it doesn't diminish the experience itself or the impact of that experience. And that's where people say things along the lines of, you can do the same thing sober by experiencing it through breath work and meditation and whatever else. And I can experience the same thing by popping a fucking tab or fucking taking DMT or whatever else. Like, what's the difference aside from the fact that you did it this way, I did it that way, and then we experience the exact same thing, aside from you feeling like you're morally superior or like you have some kind of like spiritual kind of edge because you did it from some pure place. And don't get me wrong, this isn't even something that I've had a conversation with anybody in recently, right? Like, I'm not even like hurt by this. I'm not upset. I'm not even like saying this because I've had some disagreement with somebody, but it's just something that kind of came to mind, and I'm kind of thinking like, or it's something also that I see often as well. Like a lot of, I'd say, propaganda that's kind of spread often, where people think that you have to be a certain way to be spiritual. But I mean, you came here to have a human experience, and that is a part of having a human experience. And again, some people embrace the connection that they have with spirits and alcohol or altered states of consciousness, and some people don't have the best, and they kind of stray more, or I would say go more towards, sobriety. I say stray away from that and then go more towards like sobriety or whatever else. And there is not one that's better than the other, especially if you are doing so in a way that doesn't harm anybody, that you are able to still lead and live a healthy life, and that allows you to expand to where you'd like to be expanded. And part of the reason why altered states of consciousnesses are even something that helps in spiritual experiences are because of the fact that spiritual experiences are so far past what the normal human mind or the egoic mind can comprehend. So sometimes having a substance break down the logical filter kind of allows that barrier to drop and allows your mind or allows your being to then accept these experiences. And that's why so many people, if you've ever noticed, so many people will like, if they have like across the board, right? One of the things that people have said like when they've taken psychedelics is, "Oh, I found out like I'm God," or "I feel like I'm God," or some shit like that. But the thing is, it's like, yes, that information is very accurate, but it's not always able to be fully then integrated or then understood or digested by that individual. And that's why sometimes people either expand or go further or go into deeper truths, or some people might regress or might stay where they are. Some people might even not be able to fully comprehend or process the experiences that they've had, because sometimes when you're taking a psychedelic or even in an altered state of consciousness, you're basically like, oh, you're like almost popping your third eye open sometimes. And sometimes that can lead to expansion, and sometimes that can lead to madness. And sometimes it's just a matter of how you're able to integrate it and what you're able to digest. But there are gods of party, of festival, of desire, of pleasure, of everything that you can think of. So, in the exact same breath that people are going to tell you that you have to be spiritual by doing this one way, I will always tell you that there is an opposite and opposing truth in that exact same breath. So it's always a matter of what works best for you. And I'm not saying go out and get drunk. I'm not saying drink. I'm not saying take any substances. What I am saying is don't feel shame in exploring and experiencing these things, especially if you're doing so in a way that's safe. Like, let's not rebrand Christianity and purity culture and then just shove it back in people's fucking faces. I thought that's the entire point of navigating away from this, especially when all these things have been considered sacred, are literal sacred tools of the fucking practice. Like, and I think one of the coolest ways that media has portrayed this was in The Sandman, where a club was burned down, a club exploded, and Desire was angry because he stated, like, you destroyed my place, you desecrated my place of worship. And it really made me think about, from a different perspective, just how many different gods, deities, beings there are that stand for different ideologies and energies and embrace different concepts within the human experience, and how what could be something that is negative to another practice can be something that's fully holy to the other. And I will gladly say that I've had some of the most amazing nights simply getting drunk and just going on the dance floor and letting myself loose. I've had some of the best nights of my life just letting go and like being able to just experience being in the moment and just enjoying what came next without any expectation, without any worry, without any stress, just knowing that I am going to enjoy my night and experience something that I have control over, even if I'm losing control in that moment, if that makes any sense. I can't control everything outside of me, but what I can do is enjoy the moment. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes life is stressful. I'm not saying like you gotta just completely toss caution to the wind and like fuck everything that's going on out there. But sometimes you do have to take a moment and simply just enjoy being human and enjoy the fact that you have the capacity to buy a fucking bottle of alcohol and drink some wine and just say fuck it for a couple hours. But either way, peace and blessings, you guys, and I hope you have a great night.